How do we read the results of the bypoll polls and the results that we have? How do we do a dipstick test for the mood of 2024. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. We are looking at the winners and losers from the recently conducted bypoll elections, where the BJP has taken 4 of those 7 seats. In one, in fact, it did not field a candidate. The Congress has drawn a blank in all 7 seats, but the real focus, of course, is on the regional parties, some of which have put up spirited fights against the BJP, in particular Telangana. In Bihar, though, the tag of spoiler is being used by the opposition once again for Owaisi after the MIM candidate actually voted 7 times as many votes as the BJP's winner in Gopalganj. There are many things to unpack in these elections. Like I said, in Telangana, KCR has managed to hold on to Munugode. This was a seat that was actually held by the Congress, and then its MLA switched sides to the BJP. But the BJP managed to take a number 2 position. Is 2024 going to be all about BJP versus regional parties? What happens to parties like the MIM, who are often called spoilers or team Bs of the BJP? Do they not have a right to their ambition? And the Aam Aadmi Party's national ambitions didn't really figure in these elections, but Uddhav Thackeray did manage to pick up 1 seat in Andheri East in Maharashtra. Looking at the big trends from these results, let's introduce our guests on the program today. Like I said, the BJP has taken 4 of those seats, and in 1 seat, it didn't even field a candidate. So really, it's a big win for the BJP, no matter which way you look at it. Let's introduce our guests on the program today. We are joined from the BJP by its leader, Vinita Hariharan. Good to see you, ma'am. Also joining us is political analyst and research scholar Kartikeya Batra. Aarti Jairat is with us, a veteran journalist, author, and commentator. From the MIM, we're joined by its leader, Adil Hassan. Mr. Hassan, good to see you. And Sriram Kari, who's, of course, a resident editor with the Deccan Chronicle, is with us. All right. Very interesting result. And I want to actually start with what happened in Bihar. We'll have those numbers up in just a moment. But if you look at the numbers, it actually tells you that while the BJP wins, it wins by under 2,000 votes, right? And so the MIM votes actually end up being significantly bigger. And when I say significantly, actually, if you do the math, it's 7 times more, because the BJP win is so narrow that it's actually picking under 2,000, winning by under 2,000 votes. I want to get Adil Saab's reaction to this. Adil Saab, you have heard the non-BJP parties now saying, ye dekhiye, ye proof hai. ये प्रूफ है कि जो MIM है ये वोट कटुआ है, ये स्पॉइलर है, ये बीजेपी की टीम बी है. Last times Bihar results also threw up wins for the MIM, but then you were not able to hold on to your MLAs. How do you see what has happened in Gopalganj, और आप ये जो स्पॉइलर का टैग है उस पे कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करेंगे?
Ma'am, first time we contested out of Himachal this time, and in the last 15 days only we campaigned in Himachal. And from the last 17 years, Gopalganj, BJP was winning Gopalganj. Tejasvi Yadav own mama, Sadhu Yadav, Laluji brother-in-law, was contesting in 2005, 2010, 15 and 20 also. And he never asked Sadhu Yadav to withdraw the candidature. Sometime he contested as an independent MLA. Last time, 2 times he contested on BSP MLA. Why MIM is restricted to Himachal? Why not they ask the same question to his own mama Sadhu Yadav? And they broke our 4 MLA. When Nitish Kumar, Chirag Paswan dealt the Nitish Kumar plan, then there was very much hue and cry in all over India. The same when Congress MLA went to BJP, they do the same thing. But in the meantime, when they took our 4 MLA, but nobody bothers to raise the issue. Although we supported Mahagadbandhan, RJD government unconditionally, we not even ask for any ministerial work or anything. 1 month back only, before our MLA reached to RJD, we went to meet Mr. Lalu Yadav and Tejasvi. We told you, "Aap hamara samarthan le lijiye, we don't have any problem. You just give special status to Himachal. We have Aligarh Muslim University branch issue, we have flood issue, and we have migration issue. Set up some small industries in our region, and we don't have any government medical colleges. These are our few demands which we put up before Mr. Lalu Yadav. We supported in speaker election. We supported opposition, Mr. Tejasvi, in all the moves which he raised during as a opposition leader. But he never discussed about son of Malla Mukesh Saini. He never discussed Upender Kushwaha ji.
How do you respond to just this number on your screen that the MIM candidate won 7 times more than the victory margin of the BJP winner? ये तो आप बिल्कुल हमें लोकल पॉलिटिक्स में ले गए हैं, लेकिन नेशनली जब MIM को बोला जाता है that you are a vote splitter, a vote cutter, how do you respond to that?
Mokama seat, the same Mokama seat, RJD. It was RJD last time in 2015. RJD and JD was in coalition, and BJP was in NDA. And that fellow Anand Singh won independently. It was not the victory of RJD. RJD refused to give the space of late Muhammad Shahabuddin in the poster. Anwarul Haq Sahib, late MP. Abdul Ghafoor Sahib, late Chief Minister. Taslimuddin Sahib, late Chief Minister. The minority vote, you just think that 18% minority population in Bihar, they give only 5 ministerial wealth in minority. Only 5. And Yadav got 12% of vote share. They got 13 Mantralaya. BJP gave 2 deputy CM in the NDA with Nitish Kumar. One EBC and one woman and one from Simhanchal. But Tejasvi Yadav thinks that he is Chanakya, he is master issue. Minority Muslim youths also want representation in government. They also want somebody should hurt them.
Okay, let me get responses to this. Aarti, the fact is, if you look at the result out of Bihar, and let's take a look at those numbers again. It's very simple. Even if you're not a psephologist, if we can bring up that graphics now, please, you will see that Bihar is a very clear sign where the MIM candidate is polling 7 times more nearly than the victory margin of the BJP winner. Aarti, how do you respond to this? Can we unmute Aarti, please? Hang on. Aarti, give me a second. I'll just unmute you. Yeah, go ahead, Aarti.
I said the obvious, conclusion is that MIM is a vote cutter. But, Barkha, we accuse MIM of being a vote cutter in Bihar. We accuse Aam Aadmi Party of being a vote cutter in Gujarat. These sort of allegations always come up against smaller parties which contest outside their, known territories, their home territories. The fact is that every party is entitled to their ambitions. And if they want to, contest and they want to grow, they're welcome to it. And I think that MIM, did make a splash in the last assembly polls in Bihar. It's something that RJD and Nitish Kumar should have been prepared for. So perhaps they should have worked. They worked very hard on this thing. And they worked so hard that they actually managed to narrow the, victory margin to just, less than 2,000 votes, as you said. So, I think it shows that, there is obviously a groundswell of support for the Gathbandhan, but they have to work a little harder with the Muslim vote because MIM is a reality in Bihar. I mean, in 2020, we saw later when the results came out, how much they affected the eventual outcome. And in many seats, Tejasvi's RJD lost by just, very small margins because MIM had taken away Muslim votes. So it's something that I think Mahagathbandhan has to factor in when they're contesting and preparing for the national polls in Bihar. And there's no point in, saying they're vote cutters and, they're team B of the BJP because they are a reality. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. And also, of course, every party is entitled to its own ambitions. You can't expect. Adil, very briefly, because I want to go to Vinita Hariharan of the BJP. Can we? Adil, yeah.
Ma'am, we contested only on 18 seat. And in 18 seat, we won 5 seat and 12 seat Mahagathbandhan won. There is not any seat that due to us, Mahagathbandhan lost. Not even a single seat. You go to the empirical data. It is a myth created by Mahagathbandhan because they want to give space to son of Malla, son of Kushwaha, son of Manji, son of Yadav, but they don't have space for son of Simhanchal, son of Musalman. So this is the reason Simhanchal needs a proper representation in the cabinet or in the state, in the government. Anyhow, we want representation. That is our demand. We don't want Mantralaya. We want space. We want Samman.
Okay. I want to bring in Vinita now. This is a very interesting thing that the Mahagathbandhan in Bihar has a space for everybody, all caste communities, but the son of a Musalman. Very interesting. And what does this do to the whole tag of secular politics is another whole debate. But Vinita, this is a good segue to go in to the south and what's happened in Telangana, because Asad Owaisi started as a regional party. He's now trying to expand his footprint. He's done it with some success in Bihar, not taking seats but impacting the results, impacting the outcome. How do you see the big picture, ma'am, of these results?
Absolutely. So I think, as you said, it's a resounding victory for BJP, and it's a validation of the efforts of the national party, I think, across the country, and the efforts on the ground of the policies and programs that we are running in the center. So even if it's by-elections in local, by in the local regions and in the states, it's reflective of the confidence that the people have on the policies and programs of the Modi government. So I would say this is a validation of efforts, despite whatever critics say about the failure or whatever so-called failure of the programs on the ground. This actually validates our efforts and outreach on the ground. I think that's what we see it as macro picture.
Can I ask you, before I actually look at, that's the macro picture, but before we actually look at the South, the BJP's expansionism has long sought spaces in the South, and it hasn't yet been able to get those, except for, with some variable sort of results in Karnataka. Telangana is the next battleground. It has not been able to take that seat despite a very high profile switchover by what was once a Congress MLA to the BJP side. How do you see, Vinita, what's happened in Telangana? And then I'll come straight to Sriram.
Yeah, so Barkha, so Telangana, we've given a tough fight in Telangana, so that itself proves that we are making inroads there. And I think Telangana, very soon the policies of the Telangana government is going to come apart in terms of the way they, the welfare measures, and they go against the entire principles of budgetary planning in Telangana and many other states that are ruled by regional parties. So I think their welfare economics will come through very soon, and we will be making inroads very soon. And their confidence, the people in the national party, will be re-emphasized very soon. I would say in the South, we are making inroads.
Okay, so let's bring up those graphics again as we look at what happened in Telangana. Banners off, please. All right. Sriram, take us through what's happened in Telangana. You were very skeptical about the TRS's capacity to hold on. Not, in fact, hold on. This was a Congress seat. The switchover happens to the BJP. You didn't see TRS in the mix. TRS has got a hurrah moment for itself. How do you see this?
Barkha, two aspects here. They're running parallelly and they come together at times. One, BJP has not been able to defeat a single regional party and take away the state government so far in its history. Let it sink for a minute. They fought with Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi and Punjab. They could not really succeed. They did win with Shiva Sena in Maharashtra, but lost that government. Then in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, in Andhra Pradesh, throughout its existence, yet BJP has not learned the art. It's not tasted a single victory, including in Odisha and Bengal, of course. The only regional parties it has been able to kind of manage, sort, and figure out a way to defeat is within the template in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Bihar with Nitish Kumar, and in Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party. So BJP, in a sense, has not defeated a non-Hindi speaking regional party yet. Having said that, I re-emphasize that the anti-incumbency against TRS is phenomenal. Take a leaf out of the neighboring state of Andhra Pradesh, where Jagan Mohan Reddy lost a by-election in Nandyal in 2018 before going on to win in a big way. What happens in a by-election like this, when you have 100 MLAs and ministers, that's the total capacity of the TRS, seated in the constituency 15 days before Dashara to after the campaigning ending, threats were handed out to people that if we lose your pensions, your electricity, everything will stop. This is a very real fear. Despite that, and the only reason eventually BJP failed is because the Congress candidate did not get the BJP votes. I'll tell you something interesting. It's a hyper-local reality. But the original BJP activists did not go and vote for BJP in this election, though there were very few.
Why is that? Why is that? Let's take a look at the numbers again out of Telangana and that victory. And why is that? Why do you say that? This was an extremely popular MLA. This MLA switched over to the BJP with much fanfare. The TRS accused the BJP of having given an 18,000 crore contract to get him to switch sides. The BJP takes a spirited second position, but it's the TRS that takes the seat. It wasn't even a TRS seat.
Well, no, TRS MLA was there from 2014 to 18. He lost to Rajagopal in 2018 by not a very big margin. BJP has never historically held this seat, except that it's a communist Congress. It's like a mini Kerala kind of a pocket in Telangana, where for a very long time Congress and communists alternately held this seat. BJP did very well, in the sense BJP, the candidate did very well, brought a large number of Congress people, but the Congress candidate, who's the daughter of a 4-time former late MLA, Shravanti, also did well to hold on to 23,000 votes. The margin is about 10,000 with all the kind of activity that happened. Both TRS and BJP distributed huge amounts of money. It perhaps is India's most expensive by-election ever, approximately 500 plus crores. And therefore, I go on record again saying there is huge anti-incumbency against the TRS. The Congress is repeatedly failing, and BJP will make a mistake if it thinks that anti-incumbency will automatically convert into a mandate. It is not Congress party they are fighting. TRS is as good an election fighter. They have got all the tricks.
And hence, I wonder whether, Kartikeya, we're looking at a BJP versus regional parties message for 2024. If you look at the wipeout of the Congress, that is actually what it looks like at this point. To be fair, of course, if you look at Adampur, you were pointing this out before we actually started the show, that is, it was more a family bastion as opposed to a party bastion. But if you compare it with Telangana, it's very interesting. You had a very, very popular MLA. He switched sides to the BJP. He couldn't hold on to his seat. Congress is now down at number 3 in that seat in Munugode in Telangana. And in Haryana, which is where a bypoll was taking place, where the rape convict Ram Rahim was actually out on parole coinciding with these elections, you actually have the Bishnois take that seat as they switch sides. So a different pattern from what happened in Telangana. Kartikeya, go ahead, the overall picture.
It's a bit of a khichdi, Barkha, I think. I mean, I really can't, you can't say that, there's one theme to it, except for the fact that I really agree with what was just said, that by-elections happen within a context, which is that the larger power dynamics of the state are already preset. So in that way, you are marginally not impacting the state's governance, but if you don't go with the government, you fear being punished by the party in power. So that is one element that we can't ignore with by-elections. But I think more importantly, the results in Bihar were very localized because both the seats belong to two very popular, one in a good way, one in a not so good way, leaders. And their wives are contesting elections. Similarly, Haryana was a very localized election. It was the Bishnoi seat. They've held it since the 1960s. And now a third generation, if I'm not wrong, is entering the fray. But given all of that, the Congress put up a good fight in Haryana. Telangana was, I think, even murkier because you have a new entrant and you have this whole play of money from both sides. I mean, imagine the situation is that the BJP is saying that the opposition party is overspending. So when that is happening, you know that something is up, right? So that's happening. That's happened. I think, Barkha, we also need to understand that in Maharashtra, the BJP withdrew candidate only because they probably sensed that they couldn't win that seat. And they did not want to give impression. It's an important point to note. We shouldn't say that, the BJP did not
is there any macro message that emerges for you from these elections before I go back to Vinita and Adil? Look at the role of the smaller parties. Look, we've made a lot about the regional parties. But I do want to go back to Bihar, where MIM and BSP together are picking up 20,000 votes. Now, you're right, it's a very local context. But if it is able to replicate this even in a few more seats nationally in 24.
But Barkha, the point is the Gopalganj seat is very peculiar. If you go back into time, 2010, 15, 20, it has had a record that there have been these 20, 30,000 floating voters who have not committed themselves to any of the two major formations in the state. So they have been voting for either independents or.
Okay, let me bring in Adil and then Vinita. Adil sir.
Finish a statement.
Okay.
So I think they found in MIM a more organized alternative and they voted for them. But this has been there. Having said that, I think if you see, the BJP's vote has actually gone down and the RJD has actually run them really close. But that floating voter made a difference. In fact, not just the BSP, where, by the way, the BSP's ticket was given to Sadhu Yadav's wife. That's an important point. But at the same time, there are three small parties, 1800 votes, 1900 votes, 2000 votes. Agar unme se kisi ek ka bhi had shifted, the result would have been different. So it's not just the MIM or the BSP, but chota floating votes.
Okay, Adil Hassan and then Vinita Hariharan. Adil ji, go ahead.
That Sadhu Yadav represented that constituency in 2004. He won with more than margin of 1,94,000 votes. He is the brother-in-law of Lalu Yadav. He was the sitting MLA in 2000. Then 2004 he represented. Yadav vote shifted in 2020 to Sadhu Yadav, and Abdul Ghafoor Sahib, Chief Minister, grandson, was contesting on Congress Mahagathbandhan seat. Muslim voted for him. No Yadav vote converted because there is tactical understanding with RJD. When there is Yadav candidate from BJP or BSP, the Yadav voter votes for BJP or BSP. Mostly in whole Bihar, you will find they will not vote for a Muslim candidate because we lost in Madhubani, we lost Abdul Bari Siddiqui lost, Fayyaz Sahib lost, Mashkoor lost, all the Muslim face where Yadav vote didn't transfer. It's tactical understanding between the RJD top leadership and Yadav voters that they apna hi jeetega. It's same happening in Patna city. And Gopalganj, they neglected Shahabuddin Sahib. It was also a very important factor. Hena Shahab, Mrs. Hena Shahab, and Shahabuddin Sahib's son, not even if they put in poster, Gopalganj, Siwan and Chapra, all three districts are attached. Saran is a very important segment of the central Bihar.
Let me bring in Vinita Hariharan at this point. Ms. Hariharan, Asad Owaisi's party often comes under acerbic attack.
5 seconds. One more, RJD gave ticket to Bania community, the BJP core voter. RJD gave to a Gupta candidate. So Gupta vote shifted to RJD. That was the reason to RJD.
I've understood what you're saying, but I'm interested also in the macro question that emerges from this. And the macro question, Vinita, is this, that the parties like the MIM get targeted by the BJP, get targeted by the non-BJP, and they actually get, in a way, criticized from both sides. But they are being, like any other political party, building their base, building their ambitions. How do you see this tag for the MIM, the BSP as the BJP's B team parties?
No, I think that's just a say. I mean, that's a talk that's going on. But then, like Aarti just mentioned, that this is a democracy, so every party has its role to play, and we can't stop any party from rising. But definitely, we have to have confidence in this ruling national party, which is consolidating its votes election after election, despite what naysayers say. So I think, despite all yatras and despite all kinds of welfare policies and dole-outs that the regional parties are giving away, ultimately the results speak and the winner takes them all.
What about Telangana? What about Telangana? How do you see Telangana?
Telangana also, we have given a tough fight, and it's a scare that we have given to the ruling TRS, who's been there for such a long time. And so I think the anti-incumbency will play off very soon. It's not just anti-incumbency; it's also about the welfare economics that I spoke about just now of the government of the day there. And that will come through very soon. The government is running in huge deficits in all these states, including Kerala. So all of this will come out, and it's the national government, it's the central government's subsidies and programs that are actually supporting the poor programs of the state. So I think that's where that's how the BJP is actually consolidating its votes, and it's not because of any other factor.
That's interesting. Now, Aarti, let's bring you and Shriram in here. Shriram makes the interesting point that it's not that TRS or parties like the TRS don't know how to fight as aggressively. And actually, Shriram, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there were 100 MLAs devoted to that one seat.
2 villages, 1 MLA was there for 50 days. So they knew the names of every single voter personally.
But they could do that at a state level. They also are showing national ambitions, the TRS. Only the BJP right now seems to have the capacity to actually fight at that level nationally. It also goes to capacity. It goes to capacity, resources, all of those things. Aarti, if you were the Congress party today, what is the message you'd be taking away from these results? I know, Shriram, you're laughing, but look, you have Rahul Gandhi on a yatra, and then you have these blanks. Aarti.
I know. And he went through Telangana, just before these polls,
Yeah.
in what apparently was a fairly successful yatra. He attracted
Yeah.
crowds,
Yeah.
and, everybody seemed to be very thrilled with him, and so on and so forth. But yes, I mean, I think Congress really needs to worry, about itself. And, and this is the whole point. I mean, Rahul Gandhi is doing this yatra, and he's photographed hugging people, shaking hands with them, talking to them, and it seems to be enthusing the Congress cadre. But he's still unable, the Congress is still unable to win seats. And at the end of the day, Barkha, it's all about winning seats, isn't it? And why is Rahul Gandhi not in Gujarat? He's made no trip to Gujarat so far, despite that wonderful bump they got 5 years ago. He didn't build on it at all. Why is he not in Gujarat? Himachal, he has left to his sister. He's not going to Himachal at all.
Yeah.
So, he seems to be operating on some different plane, which is not connected to ground reality at all. And, honestly, what is the message for the Congress? That, come down to earth and see what's going on under your feet. And, you need to address that if you want to remain relevant in Indian politics.
Absolutely. Shriram, as somebody who feels that TRS is facing massive anti-incumbency and the Congress seems to you in disarray in Telangana, are you saying the BJP is on the ascent? Is Telangana going to be possibly for them a kind of Bengal where bit by bit, they may not be in a position to be in pole position, but bit by bit they're playing for the long haul, and you think they're moving in the right direction, or is it too early to say that?
No, I think without a doubt today you can bet your money and say BJP is the number 2 party in Telangana. It
Really?
may win the election.
Really?
It may win. The only thing it doesn't have is leaders, and they're poaching from Congress. Next few weeks, you will hear several Congress leaders. They're waiting for Rahul Gandhi is in, Telangana today, is going over to Maharashtra. Few more days and Congress leaders will start moving. Both TRS and BJP would try and empty the Congress party. Therefore, Congress is going to be the, supply point for these two parties. BJP needs leaders. At some point, they'll have to poach 20-25 good leaders from TRS. That won't be easy. So that's why I'm saying anti-incumbency is high, TRS is unpopular, but they will not naturally lose or give up. See, just a point also that the welfare economies of South, welfare of economies and welfare models of South India are far more evolved than Northern India. So please do not judge us. The welfare delivery for the last 40 odd years, madam, I must tell the BJP spokesperson in the South, is matchable with that of some European countries. The food for program in our schools, the literacy rate, the girl child education and literacy rates, the ability to take these girls right up to college level, free education, free technical education, engineers, number of doctors, all these are phenomenally higher. So BJP's delivery in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar under Modi may impress a large part of India, but for South, it's a given, no big deal. So it won't be a natural basis by which people will be attracted. I would also like to make one comment on the other local leader who's making national waves for a long time from my part of the world, Mr. Owaisi.
Yeah.
High time we stop saying words like vote cutter, vote cutwow party and all that, because who are we to decide that this vote naturally belongs to that party? If the voters are deciding otherwise, if AIMIM getting 10% vote, it's AIMIM's vote. We can't say make it easy for the Congress or the so-called secular parties. If you say he's a part of BJP's B team, they are part of C team, this is not fair. I think they're trying to say AIMIM has no need, no right to be a bigger party than it is. It's unfair. Let people decide. In a democracy, even the 10% vote, the last vote, the person who's voting it has a right to decide. So it's not fair that you keep saying this about AIMIM since 14.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think every party has the right to its ambition. Karthike, come in and then we have to take last.
But last, Barkha,
Yeah,
just give me
yeah.
one last sentence, please.
Okay. Okay.
You said what is the big, larger national thing in Bharat Jodo? I would like to just be a contrarian here and propose. It is the success of the Bharat Jodo Yatra's last 60 days that in the Modi era, India has voted back family rule. 6 out of 7 states have gone back to families. Dynasties are back. And this is the magic of Bharat Jodo.
That is such an ironic point. And Aarti, I think you were wanting to add to that also. It's a very intriguing situation. Dynasty seems to work for every party but for the Congress party, right? Aarti, do you want to add to that?
No, absolutely. And you know, what is really ironic is that the BJP has made such a fetish of painting the Congress as a dynasty-driven party. But when it comes to choosing local candidates, it very happily falls back on Parivarvad, very happily promotes sons and daughters and wives and, other relatives of sitting and, sort of older leaders. So, I mean, I think, dynasty is very much a given thing in Indian politics. And it would be really unfair to, it would be wrong really to say that this is the reason why people are not voting for the Congress. I don't think people are not voting for the Congress because it's a dynasty-driven party. I think people are not voting for the Congress because the Congress doesn't have an alternate vision to offer, which is popular enough and attractive enough to voters to turn away from the BJP and vote for the Congress.
Okay, Kartike, Adil, I'll come to you. Okay, Adil first and then Kartik, you can have the last word. Adil ji, go ahead.
Ma'am, Barrister Sahib raised the Himachal issue, Aligarh Muslim University issue. He held during pandemic, flood camp, medical camp, flood relief camp. He raised the now every party is discussing the backwardness of Himachal. In all the empirical data, you will find Himachal the most backward region of the country. Even UNDP report. Barrister Sahib is raising that issue. That is the major reason people are getting attracted. He helped during flood. He helped with the medical camp. He helped during the pandemic. He sent the relief in pandemic. And ventilator.
Every party believes in their own leaders. That's fine.
Yes. These are the reasons why people are supporting across the RJD. These are the reasons.
Vinita Hariharan argues that it's the BJP's economic schemes and the BJP's validation of what the BJP is doing. You see that hope in Mr. Owaisi, but in the end, as Aarti says, only the numbers speak. The numbers are the results are what sift through this political rhetoric, and they can't be contested. And we have them before us. Kartike, last word to you.
Barkha, 2 points to what was said, and I'll just pick on what Aarti ji said. I don't think the problem is families. The problem is the perception of non-performing families.
That's right.
The problem with the Congress, that they are a very family-heavy top, and that family seems to be not performing well. The BJP on top is an Aam Aadmi who's controlling these elite families. So the social pyramid is inverted in the BJP. So families are accepted because they know at the end the danda is with somebody else who is not somebody who's a product of the family. And even there, the marketing of the family seems to be that, these guys are doing well because the leader has said that they are doing well. The credibility part. The second part, and this is where I'll sort of request my colleague from the MIM that, I think you will always be stuck with this tag of being a vote katua, of being a party spoiler, until you reinvent yourself and you actually show the signs that you're not just a Muslim party. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with these 12,000, 11,000 votes, and there'll come a point when even those votes will go away. Somebody else will come in. So if you have a kickstart, you already have some seed funding in terms of votes. It is now your responsibility to re-innovate and reinvent yourself.
That's an interesting thought. That's an interesting thought.
A more pan-acceptable political party, and then probably your claim that, we are there to challenge, we'll take it even more seriously.
That's an interesting party. Will the MIM go beyond, being a party for the Muslims? That's a whole different show. I have to leave it here for now. Thank you very much, Vinita, to Adil, to Kartike, Aarti, and Sriram. Thank you so much, and to our audience. Thanks for watching as ever. See you tomorrow.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.